Good afternoon, everybody. It's game day one here in Group A of the Women's Olympic qualifying tournament. 4 teams trying to make their way to Paris, and we kick it off with Spain and Japan, both teams runners-up in their regional championships last summer. 2 of the teams with the history behind making Olympic Games. This one has a promise of a classic. There's the schedule for today. Hungary at home trying to get a spot in Paris, face Canada at 7 o'clock here local time. But first game up, Spain and Japan will kick us off here. 3 games between these teams and a spot in Paris. With me is Shona Thorburn, assistant coach in the Women's EuroLeague with Land, and a double Olympian herself. Shona, these 2 teams have so much history. This has got great classic written all over it.
It really does, and I think it's so important to get that game day 1 win. And right now, if you ask me who is favorites, I couldn't really tell. I guess if you go by FIBA ranking, absolutely it would be Spain, as you see the groups there. But Japan, I mean, these are silver medalists from the last Olympics. Had a rough World Cup back in 22 in Sydney, but guess what? Spain weren't even in the World Cup, so I don't know which way I can tip my hat.
Well, it's a great point, because both these teams have had those down moments after having reached the heights of medals at the major championships. I mean, I was fortunate enough to be in Sydney for Asia Cup, one of the best games I've seen in a very long time, and they took a great Chinese team who'd come off a great World Cup to a 2-point game, and they return 8 players on that roster. So both teams have got great continuity, and I would say probably not as much a contrasting style as we often see between European teams and Japan.
Yeah, and you know, you talked about continuity. I mean, half of this Japanese team played in that Olympic Games, but guess what? There's 8 players from the Spanish team who were also in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which took place obviously in 2021. So they have experience, they have some young blood. Do they have what it takes to qualify for this year's 2024 Paris Olympics?
Well, they're going to introduce this Spanish lineup now, and as you said, great experience, because no more experience than Alba Torrens. It was, 13 years ago she made a World Cup debut when she faced Japan in the Czech Republic, and this team has got EuroLeague experience, national team experience all through the roster.
Yeah, it does. You know, every single one of these players on this Spanish team plays at an incredibly high level. All of them, except for one, plays in the FIBA Women's EuroLeague, and the sole person who does it is Ichari, who plays for Girona in the FIBA Euro Cup. Obviously, we know a lot more about EuroLeague and Euro Cup teams compared to the Japanese league, but this Japanese team, I mean, they're good, and they're not, you don't take them lightly.
Oh, no, I mean, that's now the experience that they have is just phenomenal. Now we'll stop for the national anthems of both countries.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing of the nationality of Spain.
Well, it's a sellout here in Sopron for this first day of action. Crowd filling up, obviously with Hungary playing in the second game. It will be rocking, as they say, in this arena for that. Players exchange those mementos of this game at the half, and we get a chance to look at the third team on the floor. The three officials, Julia Anaya from Panama, Martin Horozov from Bulgaria, and Kasten Straub from Germany make up the third team. Their teamwork, as we always say, as important as that of the two teams actually playing the game. Sean, we're going to get a look at the lineups, and I don't think there'll be any surprise in the style that Japan put on the floor and the starting lineup. You got to see Takada in it, but how are Spain going to try and control tempo? Because Japan want to keep this tempo high.
I mean, you can see Japan's tempo. You and I had the ability to watch their warm-up, and talk about an up-tempo warm-up. I'm pretty sure every player got 200 shots up with intensity, but also defensive drills, because they do give up quite a bit of height, like you mentioned. But they always have. And they have won with less height. So it's really about, you know, following the defensive game plan. They like to pick it up. They like to have a high-tempo game, and this is the starting lineup. There you see Takada. She is going to be at center for them. Yamamoto, Hayashi, Miyazaki, and Akaho, who's another staple of their defensive game that Japan puts out on the court.
And then they find a way, as a team system, that they find a way to deal with it. It's not a case of individually trying to deal with this. It's a case of, as its group, Coach Onzuka has picked up a program that was obviously going in the right direction and has taken maybe a little while with that World Cup. But he and his team are now on the same page.
Absolutely, and obviously he took over for Tom, the last head coach of Japan, who had that great success. And it takes a while to put in your systems as well and get comfortable also.
Surprised there that Carrera starts. She's had a great season in the Women's EuroLeague, but you know, one of the up-and-coming great, but she's got Laura Hill alongside her.
She does. You have the staple, Laura Hill, you know, Olympic medalist as well, along with Casas, who has a lot of experience. Cazorla. You thought maybe we'd see Coach Miguel Mendez start with Gustafsson, the newly minted Spanish naturalized citizen?
Well, yeah, I think that's the way to describe it. And I think, you know, it's one of those things, isn't it, though? She's got to earn her role within the group. A great player, obviously having a tremendous season in London in the Europe Cup, but and obviously a huge Women's EuroLeague season last season in Greece. But she's got to earn her role. This team you don't walk into, this team in Spain, and just get into the starting lineup. The Tissot countdown to the game, and there's nothing like Olympic Games. No one knows that better than you, but the actual pressure to make it is intense.
Getting there is actually harder than, you know, letting go and then just enjoying the experience and trying to be as prepared as possible. Both these teams know what it's like. They've had to qualify for Olympic Games, for World Cups. They've been there before. A lot of these players have done it. I'm interested to see how long Stephanie Mawali might stay on the bench for Japan, because talk about someone who has experience with the Spanish team and the way that the Spanish players play, because there's going to be two very different styles of basketball going on here today. And obviously Mawali, who does play in Estudiantes in Madrid for a Spanish professional team in the FIBA, Liga Femenina.
And the great thing about Malawi as well is, you know, in that Asia Cup, she led this team in scoring. You know, she is explosive on the inside, and that's a dimension this Japanese team really need. And at that tempo, she's so effective. Great to see her sister back in the lineup, who missed the Asia Cup because of, you know, some injury issues last season. But there's some pretty proud parents sitting around, obviously, but they're doubled up with both the sisters on the roster. Well, it's around 2 o'clock in the morning in Japan, but wherever you're joining us from, welcome to Sopron. Spain in the white uniform and Japan in the red, and we're underway, and Spain will get a look at it in the half court first time out. Hard shot on the screen, great rotation, and that's Japanese basketball, making you play a little quicker in transition, the kick, and out of bounds. But that sums up Japan.
It absolutely does. Intense step-out on-ball defense you saw there. Akaho comes up with the steal. They push the tempo. Just unfortunately, foot out of bounds on that pass.
Cazorla gets it into the half court for Spain. Hill will extend it. There is the forcing Spain again to the half court. They just about recover it. Only 8 on the possession. Cazorla down the lane, drops it inside. Hill for 2 is good. And you need that old head to come through with the experienced play against that pressure. So after that frantic start, Japan now in the half court. Yamamoto on the inside, doesn't get it to go. Chance to run for Spain, but great job slowing down the first pass. Spain will want to spend time with the basketball. Andy moves it on. Kathath needs a pass. And again, broken up. Every single pass, every single switch.
Yeah, it's that step-out defense. They're not afraid to switch, Japan, even though they know that they're going to give up a height differential.
We penetrate kicks. The 3 is good. Trademark penetration and kick to the 3.
I mean, if you give any open looks to this Japanese team from the three-point line, it could end up being a long night if you are Spain. It's all about trying to defend the penetration and kick if you're Spain.
Again, the scramble, the open 3. Krasus with the 3 is no good. Just taking Spain out of rhythm. Great work on the glass. Raquel Calera showing again what the trademark that she has given herself. Almost a breakout season in the Women's EuroLeague for her. Stop, pop, is good for 3. Hayashi with back-to-back 3s out of the blocks early on. Cazorla with the whistle draws the contact. Takada will pick up the personal. Wow, what a start, Seamus. Pace, intensity.
You knew this is what Japan was going to do. I don't think Spain all day long can keep up with this kind of intensity. I do think it'll be about, playing half-court offense, taking care of the ball in that half-court offense for them, and trying to find their mismatches and get the ball inside.
Inside, outside, a little bit of give you back the same medicine as Cazorla knocks down the 3. And again, the ball hits the second side. Yamamoto gets down the middle. He penetrates all the way to the ring, this time off the glass for 2 is good. Spain have got to try and defensively control the tempo and let the ball run their stuff. Great, Calera down the middle for 2. Just broke down the middle with a big move for 2. Izaki moves it on. Hayashi. It's going to go back court. And it's, well, Spain are going to have to play that type of defense to break up this Japanese tempo.
Yeah, you know that you have rim protectors for Spain. You don't have to go for blocks, just be there, make the smaller guards when they do penetrate. Biggest thing is, okay, if you give up penetration because maybe Japan are a little bit quicker, they have a good quick first step, you gotta close out hard, you gotta try and get reflections.
Ferreira with the tough one off the glass, deep on the clock, chance to run. Yoshida checks in. Inside, outside, Yamamoto for the 3 is good, and they space and spread and open the floor up. Cazorla penetrates off the glass, is blocked. Heel cleans up the mess on the glass. Calera has it, tries to back down, leans back for the 2, doesn't get it to drop. Carter will come down with it. Ahau penetrates, gives it up. Yamamoto, Ahau with the 3 is short. Hasn't made a 3 in the Japanese league this season. Surprised to see CSO take it that early in the clock. Kidd moves it on. Penetration to the reverse layup is no good. They're going to go 2 shots for the penetration and the foul on it.
You mentioned it, you know, Kaho, that last possession, number 88 for Japan. No hesitation on that attempt. She was wide open, and maybe not the best three-point shooter, maybe not the biggest scorer for this Japanese team, as, you know, her role is run, sprint, knock down open shots. And like I said, these players put up at least 200 shots in warm-up, and half of her shots were from the three-point line as well. That's the way they play. Everyone has to be able to shoot threes on this team.
Yep. Oh, so attacks it in transition, uses her body so well for two. And they just go straight at you in the half court. Kozola will try to slow the tempo down. Condi has it outside, looks at her options. Kaera has it in the block against Takada, spins baseline, can't get it to go. Just rushed her a little. Yamamoto in transition, stops, pops, pulls the trigger for two. And wow, what a start. Halfway through this quarter, 15-10. It's a pace.
It is a pace, and no surprise, you see a couple Spanish players are going to be checking into the game. And you got to go to your bench. You got to go to your bench early and keep your players fresh if you're Coach Mendez.
The extra pass, great take. Cathas off the glass for two. Great ball movement by Spain, but it's straight back the other way. Hiroshita gets it back out. Yoshida moves it on. Takada faces up, looks at her options. Oh, in the block, that's her gain. Gets some contact, leans back for two.
And that time, good awareness. You don't often say that Japan has mismatch advantages on the offensive end, but that absolutely was, and it was good awareness by the entire team to get her the ball in a position to score.
Zola drops it inside. Claire again, just big, far side of the ring off the glass.
Look at this, you don't get back after a made basket. Spain lucky there on that three-point attempt by Japan.
Clara brings it, doing it all at the moment, handles it, beats the pressure, takes some pressure away from her guards, which is going to help them as this game develops. Clara hits the second side. Conde looks at options, gets to the middle, super pass. Heel deep in the shot clock. Great offense by Spain, but Japan just scrambled defensively.
Well, that's what they need to do when they do give up quite a bit of height at most positions. Here you see Spain, literally Maite Cazorla with her hands on her hips, as I'm sure she's one who's going to come out. We also haven't had a lot of whistles, so both teams are going to be going to their bench the next whistle that is blown.
Yamamoto gets a little separation. Beautiful pass. Takada for two is good, and what a read. Got a timeout. Spain have decided to take it, 19-14. Japan have the lead with 3 to go in quarter one.
I mean, we'll listen in here to the timeout by Coach Mendez, but do you think he took that because he knew he needed to get subs in?
I agree, 100%. Well, let's take a listen now to the Spanish timeout.
Si no tenemos la opción de volante defensivo, muchas veces estáis a medio camino. O rebote de ataque o volante defensivo, nos queréis a mitad, ¿vale? Si no tengo esa opción hay que volver. Y nos emparejamos rápido. No necesariamente con la mía, pero nos emparejamos rápido. Ellas buscan estos tiros en primeros 10 segundos, lo hemos hablado ya 1000 veces, ¿vale? En nuestro juego de ataque, quiero las manejadoras yendo a buscar ese balón, ¿vale? Buscando ese balón, ¿sí? Para subirlo. Si podemos darle un poco de pausa al inicio de nuestros ataques, paramos un poco el ritmo del partido. Y lo último, acabad más rápido, más agresivo. Va a haber contacto cuando acabamos. Acabadlo agresivo. Vamos a un lateral el primero. Lo suba quien lo suba. Sí, a un lateral.
Well, it's almost platoon substitutions for Japan coming out that timeout. Both Mului sisters check into the game. And Japan come out, a little 1-2 trap at coming out of the timeout. Conde gets it over the half. Uvina's checked in. If you want a demonstration of how to guard your opponent, Japan are giving it to you right now. Hill, far side of the ring, is blocked. He comes off the bench and gets a positive stat. They didn't get it away.
What a great defensive possession coming out of the timeout.
Super job. Little trap, take some time out of it, scramble. And it's relentless.
And you know, I mentioned it though, you saw Stephanie Mawuli, number 3, who checked in for Japan, defending Laura Hill there on that last defensive possession, came up with the block. She's got the scouting. She knows what these Spanish players do and what their go-to moves are. And that was a go-to move, going left by Laura Hill, but an even better defensive possession.
Well, he leads the break. It's a 2-on-1, just about squeezed the pass through as Conde recovered. Yeah, she gets it off. Miyazaki tries to get a little separation, pick and pop. Louis off the bench for 3 is good. You do not need to get hot on this team. You walk in hot.
You walk in hot. Hey, they were hot after warm-up. You and I saw and witnessed the intensity that they warm up with, but also the joy. It was intense. They were very, concentrated. As Mawali's got to be careful with her reaction, where she thought it should have been a clean steal, but the referee says, no, you touched her hand. These players, you could tell just from warm-up how much they enjoy playing with each other. And that's, I don't want to say it's half the battle, but you like to get together, you like to train at an incredibly high intensity. If you enjoy it, it helps everyone out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Gustafsson comes in for a first tournament game with Spain and comes in with the most experienced player for Spain in Alba Torrens. And if ever they needed a little bit of a steady head, it's pretty much right now. It's a big, big lineup for Spain. Gustafsson gets her first touch. Hands off and picks. Uvina tries to get to the foul line, stops, pops, and drops the 2. Who said she was shoving the bag?
Yeah, I think that's a great sign for her. I mean, you want to go back and look in the books. Aside for Astu Dor, when she played for Spain, she recently had a baby, so she's no longer with the Spanish team. Uvina had the best, second best as far as points production for the Spanish team in Tokyo.
Louis off the glass is fouled. Will go to the free throw line, has to earn him there. That's the first foul by Spain.
And you're kind of thinking you're down, maybe you should have taken a couple more fouls earlier, but they're so quick. They avoid the defense, Japan.
And that's one of the things, Spanish teams traditionally will know how to use their fouls. One of the ways to stop it, foul in transition if you don't like the fact you're getting run at. Well, he makes the first from the free throw line. 70% from the line in Liga Femenina. Goes 2 for 2. And Japan have got to be happy the way they've started this game. 24-16. Uvina, just no moment. Alba Torrens outside. Gustafsson will extend the floor. Gustafsson can knock down the 3 if they give her too much space. Torrens is going to draw the contact.
You mentioned it though, Mawuli, coming off the bench, she plays in Spain, so she obviously knows these Spanish players very, very well. Outside of Gustafsson, the rest of them, they have 3 players who play outside of Spain. The rest play in Spain. And Mawuli, top scorer for them at the last Asia Basket, where they came second, lost to a very good Chinese team. She's coming off the bench. That's a pretty good sign. Like, you have scorers everywhere.
Mawuli handles it down the lane, coast to coast, has it knocked away. Gets a little frustrated, wanted to finish the play. Japan will have the end line possession. Oh, screener action. He gets a little separation. Little lift to the open 3 is off. Calero, who's putting in a shift in this first quarter, comes down and chases it down. Spain, Uvina. Calero will hit the side. Torrens looks at her options, tries to take the ball screen, goes inside. Calero with the catch. All a little bit off balance. Great work on the glass. Gustafsson gets the first 2 of the game. Miyazaki goes inside. Maluri just eludes the defense for an easy 2. And right at the end of the quarter, complete breakdown by Spain. And it's the first quarter, you've got to say, Japan edge, and Japan looked very, very good.
You know, they do. I think they're playing Japanese basketball. It's what we've seen them play for, you know, okay, we keep talking about, you know, the historic silver medal, but this is what they do. They're going to get out and run. They're going to shoot at 50. Figure out a way to try and play your style of game. Right now, Japan has controlled and done what they want to do both on the defensive and offensive end. Spain, go ahead, settle down a little bit and, you know, play your systems. Continue to crash the offensive rebounds. Attack it if you have an advantage. If you don't, find that advantage in your half-court offense.
Absolutely. Hayashi will inbound at the start of this second quarter. Yoshida's checked back in. Yamamoto. That's a quick back court. Who needs a back court as Maluri just goes past Gustafsson. Has her feet stuck in the floor. Heel outside, looks at options. Ovina will lift. Look where Spain are being forced to take this nice pass by Torrens to the baseline. They don't get the back screen too. Yoshida penetrates, looks to kick, the ball doesn't stick. Mouli for 3 is long. There's a battle on the glass. Hill cleans up the mess and has to bring it. Such a good job at slowing down the first pass as well. This is not just about being quick. Ortez in the game, interested to see if she can put some control into the Spanish options. Are they going to hold a jump ball?
Oh, good job there coming. It was a mismatch. Without a Hill underneath and came over aggressively and trapped the low post.
Yep.
You see Hill not too excited about the call. I think she thought she was fouled.
Gustafsson looking for an option, just about beats the 5 count. Torrens steps out for the 3, is short. Yoshida hunts it down, gives it up. Malui at the glass, and one.
And you know, I don't want to, this is Gustafsson's first game against Japan, but also with Spain, and it's not easy. No. It's not easy adjusting to international basketball. Yeah, she's been playing for many years in Europe now, so she knows FIBA Women's EuroLeague, she knows Eurocup competition, she knows these Spanish players, she's played against them. But it's difficult coming in and playing against a very different style than you've ever played against before.
Well, that's a 3/4 court trap again. It's more just for a different look. They're not really going hard to the trap. Ovina brushed out. Heel kicks. It's all frantic for Spain at the moment. Torrens down the lane is fouled. That'll be Malou's second foul. And you got to say, the experience that Alba Torrens has, it's not about being rushed. She's going to attack the middle strong and in her time, and that was exactly what she just did.
Well, if there's anyone who knows what it takes and how to play against, you know, teams from outside of Europe, it's Alba Torrens with all of her experience since she was a teenager.
Oh, absolutely. We said right at the top, the 2010 World Cup was her first major global tournament. One of the early games in that was a win for Spain over Japan. That was the beginning of Japan building this program. Torrens makes the second. And Spain extend the defense a little just to try and slow it down. Yoshida in the half court. Yamamoto. Ortiz cleans up. Had a great season with Zaragoza so far.
I love seeing her back in a Spanish jersey.
Yeah.
It's been a while, and very deservingly so after her season with Zaragoza.
Gustafsson with a second move, read the double team beautifully, went back to the middle. A little tempo taken out of the half court then by Spain. Throw it into the post, let her play. Yoshida spins, foul line jump shot. Doesn't get the drop. Urbina has a chance to run and looks to push. Torrens wanted it in transition. Here is the trailer. Torrens in the post, going to work, gets to the middle. Doesn't get the two. Late whistle by the official, and I'm not sure, but that's why he's got a gray shirt on and I'm sitting here. But again, Alba Torrens in her time, not being rushed, goes to the middle. And so there's a little bit of problem, should we say, for Japan with things going to the inside. So what do? You bring back Maki Takada.
You know, captain, experience, tallest player on this roster for them. But she's been on the bench. You know, she played a little over 6 minutes, I believe it was, in that first quarter. She's been able to recover.
This is pretty much as big as Japan can go with Maui and Takada together. They didn't start the game. In the game together now is Alba Torrens trying to continue to just calm things down for Spain. Close it to an 8-point lead. And now Spain show a little pressure. I like the fact they've gone up the floor because it's slowing down Japan.
Not taking risks, but like you said, just slowing them down, right?
Miyazaki moves it on. The three is blocked, and Alba Torrens is just getting it done. Extends the defense, gets the block. Urbina in transition, down the lane, off the glass for two, doesn't get it to go. Takada cleans up the mess. And automatically, Japan run. Malui gets a feet set for three, rims it in and out. But as soon as you miss, it's a different game.
Well, you saw Urbina miss the layup, and Ortiz, I don't think it was smart. She actually went for the steal on the outlet pass on the other side of the basket. You already have Urbina having to run back. You don't want to give up a 5-on-3, and, you know, really, Spain got lucky on that last shot by Mawuli that she missed.
Gustafsson plays through contact. The double team came, and both Gustafsson and Torrens just demonstrating, just finish your play. Takada penetrate, kicks, Malui attacks the closeout, pulls up for two is good. When we get a chance, we'll talk about that Gustafsson and Torrens thing. They've not been rushed, have they? Just tremendous execution, using their skill set. Ortiz, a little curl, kicks it. Heel attacks the closeout, second step. Gustafsson is going to be fouled and not. I think the referees have to start calling some things. And Gustafsson was strong enough to get through the contact from Takada.
Well, you know, a good job there. You mentioned it, we're going to talk about it a little bit. Gustafsson with an opportunity here. Carrera, she played 10 minutes in the first. She didn't come out. With this pace of Japan, she must really be needing a break. And a good job there by Gustafsson, especially on the offensive end. I think defense, you know, kind of getting used to the shooting ability, but then also the driving ability and the speed of Japan. I think it's going to take her the game to get used to that. But offensively, I thought she's done a solid job. She's come in, she hasn't rushed anything. She hasn't put up bad shots. All her scores have come around the basket, and that's where Spain's advantage is.
Yep. It's a very, let's say, solid lineup that Spain have on the floor right now. Again, space and spread. Miyazaki gets her feet set for three, puts it up, is long. Chase down. Chance though for Spain in transition. Cazorla looks at options. Tempo a little slow, the back cut. Ortiz off the glass for two. And that extra length she gives Spain in the back court really paying dividends. Timeout. Japan and Spain have come up with an answer.
Yeah, and you know, it's difficult when you're not used to playing Asian teams, this Japanese team specifically. It takes you a little while, and you see now that Spain are a lot more confident offensively, but also on the defensive end, they've switched a little things up than they did at the beginning of the game.
Well, let's take a listen to the timeout. The thing watching Japanese basketball over the last decade as it's really grown is that they do have a lot of subtle changes they can put in. They can trap, they can spread their defense into a zone and not always just chase and rely on that one-on-one quickness. But I think Spain have found the solution. It's now whether Japan can keep the intensity high.
What do you think of this? Spain coming out, looks like a zone defense. Yep. It might be fake. No, they're staying in a zone defense.
Looks 2-3 matchup-y. Great hands. Condi comes up with a steal and pushes. Needs a pass. Ortiz gets it back to her. Deep catch. Heel going to work. Goes to the baseline for two. Blows it. And Ortiz goes to the glass and gives up the foul. I don't have a problem with him going hard to the glass. At the very least, it's going to slow the tempo.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't a bad foul. Spain, they do have 5 offensive rebounds. It is advantage for them. They're scoring out of those offensive rebounds. Like you said, it's only the second team foul for Spain. Unfortunately, that is the second foul, personal foul, for Ortiz, though.
I think they need her. I think she's going to be a big part of a Spanish performance here. Miyazaki, Yamamoto attacks the seam in the zone and kicks. Miyazaki gets her feet set, well closed out. Aho gets it off. Yamamoto looks to get separation. They have to take the tough three, and that's a great series again by Spain. They showed the zone and looked like they come out of it halfway, you know, deep in the...
Couple of passes.
Yeah. Gustafsson out top. What an impact she's already had. Conde inside out. Ortiz attacks the closeout and is fouled. And you've got to love the way that Mariana Ortiz has impacted this game. She's going to sit. And so is Gustafsson as Kiera comes back. Maybe coach thinks that when you're 22, you can go harder and longer.
Well, it's true. I do believe that it is very true. You can, got a little bit more stamina, less aches.
Oh, Hill just outworked everybody. Off the glass for two. And our Hill shows you what she's been doing for this national team for a decade. Yamamoto. Yoshida. Moves it on. Yamamoto, 10 on the possession. Penetrates deep, needs a pass. And Laura Hill again gets a piece. And Spain a chance to tie this after being down double digits Kazuala heels open on the inside with a mismatch, wants it. They force the rotation. Kazuala penetrates. Kathas with a mid-range two. They could have got a better one. Yoshida will push. Yamamoto open for three is good.
Well, they cooled off a little bit. They were shooting 50% at the end of that first quarter. Good sign for Japan because they have not made a lot of threes in this second quarter. That's the first three they've made in the second quarter. They're only shooting 33% from three now.
Heel puts it on the floor. Weaves off the glass for two is no good. Probably the first tough shot they've taken in this second quarter. And Hill takes one for the team.
And those were the kind of fouls I said, we talked about in the first quarter. Maybe Spain needs to take a foul, especially in transition. Slow Japan down. Don't give up maybe 5-on-3, 4-on-3 opportunities. And, Lauda Hill, for me, one of the best defenders in FIBA Women's EuroLeague, but also in the international game for the Spanish team for many, many years.
Yeah.
No surprise. She's the one who says, okay, we need to slow things down.
Yoshida will inbound. Yamamoto will come off the stagger, gets it back to Yoshida. Gets a stagger and tries to turn the corner. Has a matchup, you'd think she almost turns it over. Ahahu, great little pass, inside, outside. Hayashi, that's off. And that'll be a held basketball with 6 on the possession. It will stay with Japan.
Well, we just saw the hops there.
Wow.
As the bench and the Japanese fans liked watching Evelyn Mawuli get up and knock that ball out. Well, they might be undersized, but they are not unathletic, that's for sure.
No, that's all. 14-second reset. Yoshida will take the ball screen. Great live. Hayashi for three is short. That's a rebound by Iho. The three off the second shot is good. Well, you just said it. That's how much athleticism this group has. Yahoo just took off on the offensive ball. Great back cut. Kondi with the two. Great use of the body. And they're just right back at it, though, Japan. Yahoo has it knocked away. Yoshida has a look at the options, takes the ball screen. Yahoo rolls. Yoshida inside out. It's scrappy, to say the least. The three is good.
3 threes by Japan in the last, minute and 45 seconds of game clock. And where you said, okay, Spain, opportunity to tie the game. It was about a minute ago, no?
Yeah.
And now Japan push it back up to a double-digit lead.
Well, Spain have taken a timeout. They've got a lot to talk about again for this last minute and 55. Let's take a listen.
Tenemos que ser más duras porque no hemos llegado al bonus y no podemos encajar después de rebote tiros abiertos solas. Hay que ser más duras en el 1 por 1 y no sobreayudar, que es lo que busca. Si estamos bien puestas, bien colapsando con una pinta suficiente y jugar con las faltas en las penetraciones, que no sean de tiro libre, no podemos llegar a final de posesión de esta manera, ¿vale? Rebote defensivo, emparejado rápido, después de rebote defensivo. Un lateral esta, ¿vale? Lateral.
Shodi, you made when we were prepping for this game, you made a great point about Japan. They're never that long away, are they, from a quick run of points? I mean, 3-point game, now a 10-point game in the blink of.
Yeah, I love the way that Japan plays and has played for many, many years. They're a team that are never going to give up. They're going to put 110% intensity, defensive effort, offensive effort. They're constantly moving, and because of the way and how quickly and well they can shoot the three-point basket, they're always in a game. You might think you're up 20 against Japan. Last 10 minutes, you come back and your lead has diminished instantly.
Well, Kazuala just about beat the 8 count. And if this is a little bit like the beginning of the game, Spain really being taken out of what they're trying to run. This is a defensive series by Japan. Kondi has to try and do it on the dribble. Leans back for two, doesn't get it to go. Heel on the glass, again cleans up the mess. Clara gets a deep catch. Extra pass, they go to the reverse, layup and blow it. They passed up better ones again. And that's going to be a foul to stop the transition. That'll be the full team foul. Kathaf. Since Gustafsson has left the game and Torrens has left the game, it's been a different looking Spanish team. They are being rushed by this defense.
Yeah, they are, rushed, forced to take difficult shots. As we saw, I've seen Conde hit that shot many times, but it's a hard shot. Oh, wow, where was the defense by Spain?
That's what that three-point threat does to you. You end up worrying about people who don't have the basketball. Heel outside, drops it inside. Murakami going to work. Nice look. Calera off the glass, blows it, but is fouled and will go to the free throw line. And Malui's on her knees, and I think we have a little bit of sympathy with her.
Yeah, definitely from our angle and where we're sitting, I'm not sure that was really a shooting foul. I thought Cadetta maybe should have gone up with her left hand instead of, I felt she was more open because she caught the ball. It was a nice move, attacked the middle, and then somehow came back and shot it with her right. As we see, obviously, no surprise, Stephanie Mauli is going to check out. She does have 2 fouls. You don't want her to pick up that third foul heading into halftime.
And we saw the athleticism of her sister. So, and the other thing that Japan have managed to do is really manage to cut Takada's minutes in this first half. She's had her impact, but they've got contributions across the roster. Carrera makes the throws. Substitution coming in for Japan as Hirarasta checks in.
And again, Hayashi, she's had a great first half for them as you see her go to the bench, but she also has 2 fouls as well.
Yep.
And not a risk you're going to take. 15 points, top scorer for Japan in this half. 50 seconds left, they've got a 10-point lead.
Oh, great defense by Carrera, great energy level with ease and blows the layup. Aho gets back, didn't quit on it. They go straight back the other way. The open 3 in transition is no good. Carrera is putting in a shift. That's 30 meters up and down both ways. Just phenomenal effort. Spain. Last 20 seconds of what's been frantic. Got to penetrate. Sang kicks, turns it over. Akita gets it up, off the glass for 2 is good, and she wanted the foul. Rasta wanted the foul, didn't get it, finishes the play. 6th on the clock. Cathas for 2, and finishes the half with the positive for Spain, but they're down 10, and Japan have given a demonstration of how to play this game at a pace and belief in each other. 46-36 at the half. Japan have it over Spain. Wow, what a first half, Shona.
It's kind of what I expect. This is for a ticket to the Olympics. As we see the stats there, Japan leading by 10. They cooled off, only 37%. That's a great percent from three-point line. They were 50% after 10 minutes. And then rebounds, a little bit better job. Spain, had a big lead after 10 minutes. No surprise, I mean, if you look at these statistics, you can tell why Japan are up by 10. Good job on the offensive rebounds by Spain as they have 7, and I do think it's something that they need to continue to attack because of that advantage and make Japan have to play, more possessions on the defensive end, because you don't want to give them good looks on the offensive end, because they can score, and they can score very quickly. You mentioned it, Carrera there. We saw 8 points. Casas with those last 2 points brings her total up to 5 for them. And Gustafsson, I thought she had a great little contribution, especially from the offensive end for Spain, the newly minted Spanish citizen. She has 7 points in Japan. Well, it's always going to be about shooting, but I thought off the bench, Evelyn Mawula, great job by her, 10 points coming in. We saw her take the ball off the dribble, get to the basket, knock down open shots from outside. But really, for me, it's all about the hot shooting of Saki Hayashi, 5 of 7 from three-point range. She finishes 15 points in only 12 and a half minutes played.
No, it's in terms of return on the investment. She's showing how to get that. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the thing that, as we see the best plays of that first half, Spain had that period where they could exert a little bit more control, and that was Gustafsson and Torrens minutes, and Ortiz at the point. That unit looked a little bit. They were making shots, which obviously is the best way to slow people down. But that unit looked very effective for Coach Mendez. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. They looked a little bit under too much pressure without that lineup on the floor.
Well, you know, you have Torrens. I feel like any lineup that Torrens is in, she's going to make people around her better because she has been there. She knows what it takes to win at this level. There's a lot of players who know on the Spanish team, but she is the most experienced. She's played against a lot of Asian teams before. She knew exactly what they were going to do, and she wasn't rushed, where you felt, at least where I did, that starting lineup for Spain to begin the game, they felt a little rushed, a little, you know, maybe too excited because of the way that Japan plays defense, goes for steals. You're only down 10. There's still 20 minutes left. A lot of basketball to be played.
Education, health, justice. We sometimes take these simple things for granted. They're not common for all of us. We are all born on the same planet, but not with the same opportunities.
Whatever our gender, color, belief, or capability, we are one. We are all on the same team. Let's convince those who never thought they would do it that they can. We can. Together, we are stronger. No matter your origin, basketball can bring everyone together. Basketball for good.
Tied ball game. Perez on the run. It's blocked by Guafni. Puerto Rico ball.
Shot down the stretch there. Guafni coming up with a big time block.
Cardoso coming up for the screen. Resits back. Corner. De Oliveira. She's fouled. That's a 4-point play opportunity. USA's got their heads down.
Concord trying to keep up with Tizian. Oh, look at Musa go up for the rejection.
Hill, enough time to do something with it. Takes it into the elbow and will hit it for two.
Big time shot. And Sammy just elevates into her jump shot, fading to her left, knocking it down right at the buzzer.
Star getting some opportunity in minutes.
Serbia. Throw it by 4.
Dillard, and meanwhile, she goes in, scores. A very difficult shot, is fouled, and has a chance for a three-point play.
Yeah, they challenge you on every possession. Beck falls, and that's going to be on a highlight. Super move, got her on the back foot, pulled up, pulled the trigger.
Looks to go down the baseline again, goes the long way. That's great hands, quick hands by Manunga. Out in transition behind the back by Van Loo. Razamon can do everything here in Tel Aviv.
I want to see that on replay because this was razzle dazzle here. Look, Faith goes behind the back.
Ron Lee puts the Jets on. Oh, how did she do that? Ron Lee just parted the seas.
There's your highlight. That's just a super duper move.
They try to inbound it. They get it to Dubé. Unbelievable! Unbelievable! They have taken advantage.
That is unbelievable.
These guys will be legends in their own country, but also in the international basketball world forever.
Well, welcome back everybody to Sopron. We're still at half-time, about 5.5 minutes before the start of this third quarter. And, you know, we were just talking about the lineup that Spain could look to go to and a way to try and control tempo, because if they don't, it looks like Japan will actually be able to just run away with us.
Yeah, you know, I really think if you're Spain, I think you need to use your bench. I think you need to give, you know, some players opportunities to play a little bit more than maybe, you know, 5 minutes and 49 seconds if you're Alba Torrens, sort of a situation. Because I think you have to be able to keep up with their quickness, and you have to always stay on your feet when you're playing Japan. So maybe, you know, it's an opportunity to go to your bench, give everyone a little bit of playing time so your starters, your stars, can get a little bit more rest, because you know it's going to be a high intensity moment when they step out there. So maybe that'll something Coach Mendez goes to in this second half. They're down 10, they came back, they almost tied it. You know, I don't think it's a really big deal. And how many times have we seen Spain trailing in a game and come back and won?
Well, because they know how to win basketball games as a team, don't they? You know, how many times do you say, Spain, there is no way. And then, yep.
They know how to win. It's I don't know, it's something they eat. It's part of their culture. In all sports, men's, women's, it's not just, you know, this women's basketball team. We've seen Spain do it countless times. So I'm not really worried. They have the experience. They know what it takes. Can they put it together? It's hard. We know that Spain didn't have as long as Japan has had to prepare for these games or this tournament, because they were playing, you know, in the Spanish league. They were playing in FIBA Euro Cup, FIBA Euroleague games. They probably only had about 4 solid team practices together, where Japan, their league has been stopped for a few weeks, I think, the last time I checked. So you know that they were together training during the stoppage of their league to prepare for this. So I think as a global, you know, who had more time to get ready, it was definitely Japan over Spain.
Yeah, Maluli even left this Estudiantes for like a game before because she needed to get back. And you know that's the sort of thing that people would put into the contract and everything else. I mean, it's just have a brief conversation about Raquel Carrera. Like, 22 years old, she's having a real breakout sort of season as a senior player in the Women's EuroLeague with Valencia. Coach starts with her, she's played more minutes, and she's got an engine, and she's been just phenomenal.
Yeah, no, she has. And, you know, it's been many years now where we have been talking about Carrera. And you said it, you know, I think this is the first big year where she feels comfortable in EuroLeague. She helped Valencia win that Euro Cup title a few years ago with that sideline out-of-bounds play. They went to her. I believe she was a teenager still when that happened. So, you know, she's someone, she has experience. She's played in the Olympics. She's been at a Eurobasket, so she knows what it takes. But to be 22, she might not be the face yet, but she is going to be the face of the Spanish team moving forward.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's, you know, being talented, and she's had contributions and significant contributions in various. But to be recognized as one of the leaders on this group, a team like Spain, when you're only 22, it's great to see Coach having that confidence in her.
And you know, this is Coach Mendes, somewhat newly appointed. He hasn't been there as long as maybe some other coaches coaching their national teams. They did miss out in that 2022 FIBA Women's World Cup, which were held in Sydney, Australia, and then they made a coaching change. I believe it was after that, missing out on that because of a poor, you know, they barely made it. I don't think they did make it out of group phase at the Eurobasket that they hosted.
Yeah.
So coaching change was made after that, and it takes time. You don't have a lot of time as a national team coach. It's not like club basketball, but Mendes, with his experience coaching superstar teams as well, he knows how to, you know, balance, go after what's important. He knows the sets. He's been in the women's game a very, very long time. And look at this, new starting lineup.
And it's
other than Carrera.
Yeah, it's what we talked about before the half in terms of Ortiz with Gustafsson, with Torrens. Carrera's in the game, and Uvina. That was the lineup that, well, except Carrera's on the bench at that point, that played that little stronger and got the control. They had the possession at the start of this third quarter. You got another glimpse there of the QR code for the courtside application. If it's not on courtside, it's not worth watching. It's got every piece of information you would need. You're going to get to see that QR code on a number of occasions throughout this Olympic qualifier. But here we go. Ortiz with the basketball into the half court. Needs a pass, finds one. Carrera comes off the block. Ortiz, sideline pick and roll, deep seal. Gustafsson for three, which she can knock down. Doesn't get it to drop. And Japan in transition. That's not a word if you're Spanish you want to hear. Great penetration for two. And out of the locker room, nothing changes.
No, you know, attack the basket. If she wasn't open, she was going to find a shooter after a penetration kick. That time, no help side by the Spanish defense, though, as Uvina is left open. And 2 3-point shot attempts to start this half. No good by Spain.
Not at all. They hit the second side without thinking about it. Takada has it, needs a pass. Miyazaki puts it to Takada, puts it on the floor, going left. Ball's ripped away by Uvina, who gets moving in transition. Gustafsson in the trowel, moves it on. Ortiz, that's a hook. I think she'd have got away with it if she'd have did it and then let go. But she pretty much held it. And that's her third foul, and that's a disappointment for Spain in terms of...
She has to come out, right?
Has to come out. And again, they just speed you up. and make you do things a little faster than you want to do. Miyazaki into the half court. Takada feet set for three, doesn't even think about it. Ahau's on the glass. Uvina comes up with another positive stat with the defensive rebound. Deep catch for Torrens. The double team goes hard. Uvina drops it inside, but kicked away. And if anyone is watching this Japanese team, how to guard your opponent individually and as a team, this is a demonstration of how to scramble in that defense. Kathas gets to the corner. Uvina tries to get out into the middle. Kathas penetrates, take a tough one, draws contact, and really did take a tough-looking shot. Strong on the drive, but off balance, but draws the contact, goes to the free throw line. Kathas misses the first of the throws. He's not had a great time from the free throw line in the Women's EuroLeague. It's about 50%. She's a far better free throw shooter than that, but goes 0 for 2. Takada just about hangs on. Akao. Takada will hit the second side. The ball doesn't stick. Yamamoto in the corner for three. It's good.
The ball does not stick. There must be a rule. You cannot hold on to the ball for more than a second, half a second, and it's got to find the shooter.
Uvina tries to clear out and hold space and just not given a moment. Uvina, that's just a super defensive effort. Carrera in her own space and time with a mid-range too.
And you know, you saw Uvina a little bit frustrated there on that offensive possession. I would be frustrated too if my teammates weren't getting open and you had the kind of ball pressure that she had on her.
Mizaki guarded by Gustafsson. Yamamoto is out of bounds on the sideline. A number of times players forget how wide the court is.
Or how narrow it is.
How narrow it is, yeah. 51-38, 7:26 to go in the third, and it's a little bit deja vu in terms of how this game is being played. Uvina gets it into the half court. Kathas has it. Gustafsson shows her the ball screen. They don't get a lot of advantage out of it. Now they go inside. Clara is fouled as she tried to hit Kathas down the lane. Will be in baseline possession. Alba Torrens will inbound the basketball. Nice pass. Carrera can't get the two. Ran the play, had the opportunity to finish. Izaki has to back it out. Alba Torrens has just not left Hayashi. She's just taken her out of the game here on the three-point line. Great penetration. Ahau blows the layup. Gustafsson cleans up the mess. Uvina will lead the break. Again, Japan's transition is just out of the top draw. Gustafsson inside, once, doesn't get. Uvina drops it inside. Gustafsson, deep catch for two. That's so much better. And Gustafsson just gives Spain an option.
A really, you know, solid inside presence. And you said it, she had that three-point shot attempt. She can shoot the three. But what the Spanish team needs is for her to score inside.
Mid-range for Akao is bread and butter for her. Knocks down the two. Nice pass. Carrera with a reverse layup for two. And this is Spain beginning to get things out of this, out of what they're running. You made the point, not a lot of time together. The first half is another opportunity to get better. And Takada doesn't need any time to get better. Knocks down the three.
You can't do a drop defense there, Carrera. I know you're worried about the penetration because they've given up some penetration after transition on-ball screens, but you got to get back to shooters, and everyone is a shooter on this Japanese team.
Goes over the backboard, but Takada stays with it, reads the break. Great hands by Carrera. Their rotation on their help is they really just commit to stopping the ball going inside, and then offer Alba Torres the chance to make the three.
Yep.
Which is great if Alba Torres makes the three, but they're getting Spain to take shots that they want them to take. Just another exceptional defensive performance so far. 56-42. Yamamoto, who's played a lot of minutes. Yoshida moves it on. Takada. In Takada time, moves it on. Yoshida just opens up to the layup and kicked it. Malui off the bench for three is long. Gave up a wide open layup.
I was just gonna say, it was a nice find, but you definitely gave up an open open layup. There was Yoshida.
All right, she takes one for the team. Spain in transition, and Japan don't hesitate to foul. Dangerous time here for Spain, down 14. They've got to keep the scoreboard ticking over. Carrera's gonna be the release. Ulvina gets away with a little carry. Nice pass, nice cut, blows the layup. Super execution, but Ulvina couldn't finish it. Malui the other way, at pace. Yamamoto, extra pass. Takada having made one. Doesn't go back-to-back on the three-point line. Ulvina has a chance to push the other way. There is not a moment to stop and assess what's going on here. Great boards on the glass. Torrens can't get it to go. Looks longingly at the official, doesn't get the call. Ulvina has to make the foul because I think she had to stop the game.
Yeah, I think you know, you see at least Ulvina, she took the foul, knew she needed to slow it down on the defensive end, and right away she knew that she was coming out as Maita Cazorla checks in for her. And every time you feel like, you know, Spain are finally doing what they want to be doing, Japan comes down and hits a big shot. So you kind of feel a little deflated saying, well, I thought we were doing a little bit better, but now all of a sudden we're still down 14.
Absolutely. It really is that, isn't it? You know, we're getting shots we want. Oh, okay. There's another three. There's another good shot. They're still running at us. Kawe's in the game. Yamamoto will sit. Kawe has it. Heel gets a piece of. They're going to call the jump. Possession arrow will stay with Japan.
And you know, we see Hild here checking in for the first time. She played 18 minutes in that first half. That's a lot of minutes in a fast game. And I'm not saying Laura Hill is not able to do that. But again, I think maybe Spain, they need to use their bench a little bit differently. You know, I don't think you can play anyone. You see, I mean, if you look at the minutes played, Japan, they go to a rotation constantly because they need to play at that high-intensity game. And you almost need to match it, the same kind of rotation, if you're playing against them.
Kathas gets it into Cazorla. Cazorla with a hesitation goes to the layup for two. Tough move, super little hesitation. Kisses the window for two. But straight back, Kawe has it. Yoshida. Maludi gets it off. Kawe thinks about the three. Turns the corner, goes inside, needs a pass. Great move. Yoshida just dropped to the baseline. Is way short. Maludi gets the offensive rebound with a new 14 reset. The three is off. And the ball will be retained by Japan as Hill can't clean up the mess on the glass.
And you see Coach Mendez and his staff from Spain saying, hey, it shouldn't have been a reset. For me, we had the better angle than they do because we're on the other side of the court. That three-point shot, it was well short, but it did touch the rim.
It definitely did. Absolutely, definitely did. Well, Yamamoto, as I say, is playing, she always does put in a shift of minutes. Has a minute out, she's right back. Coach knows how important she is. She just sets tempo and leads his team in so many ways. Yamamoto has to go long on the inbound. Malui. Zaki gets her feet set, puts up the three, is way short, but they get the offensive rebound. Malui lines up the three. She's not short.
And you know, she doesn't have one of the quickest releases that we've seen on this Japanese team, but what she is so talented at doing is she can take you off the dribble. So Gustafsson there, she needs to give her a little bit of space where then she can get her shot off. I mean, scouting, you know that she can shoot threes, but you're also afraid of her just blowing by you.
And again, it's the same thing that Japan do, isn't it? You've got to pick your poison here. It's like if they don't close out, make her put it on the floor. Gotta make her put it on the floor. Here's Kathas, needs a pass. Gustafsson deep in the block, they turn her down. Condi doesn't, but gets it to her in the short corner. That's some defense in the post. Condi with a tough one-footer, doesn't get it to go. Heel outworks everybody on the glass. Gustafsson in the post, and Maluia just going at it.
She was open, but not that open with the defense of Mawuli, you know, going from side to side. Nothing looked clear giving the ball inside.
Got to think, though, the desire to get at the ball has got to be a little bit more with intent than that. She's open. They've got to find a way to get at the ball that deep.
And then it's not just, you know, it says, okay, listen, I'll throw the ball into you, but you got to come to the ball because they're going to try and jump around you and tip the ball. So it's a little bit, you know, having that confidence both ways, passer and then also the passer receiver saying, you know what, I'll give it to you, but come to it at least.
Farah Hill makes the second. 14-point game, and the rotations off that Japanese bench just keep coming. Spain show a little three-quarter pressure up the floor. Malui just rips it through to the ring for 2 and 1.
I mean, I was just talking about that. Mawuli, as you see her celebrate, and for good reason. Gustafsson, she had to get closer because through 2-3 possessions earlier, Mawuli just caught the ball and knocked down a 3 with Gustafsson guarding her. This time she gets a little bit closer. What does she do? Drives right by her and 1.
Wow, this is going to be an interesting Spanish timeout. 2:45 to go in 3. Let's take a listen to Coach Mendez.
Quise ponerla dentro y si a la primera no va, porque cuando estoy intentando meterla, la tiene muy anticipada, dejar que trabaje la tío y ponerla dentro. Y sobre eso jugamos. Cuando la cambiamos, mantenemos y la ponemos dentro. ¿Vale? Seguimos en ello. Va Cazorla sobre la base, ahora tú sobre la otra y tú sobre la más grande. Estamos abiertos a cambios en todas las posiciones. Hay una falta por hacer, si tenemos que cambiar en un mismatch, podemos gastarla. Vamos a movimientos en L por el lado de Gil para buscar la puerta atrás. ¿Vale? Gil se abre, se la damos y buscamos alguna puerta atrás o la llegada. ¿De acuerdo? Por el lado de Gil. Vamos. Siendo agresivas que estamos en
Wow, you're seeing these replays. And we were just discussing that issue that they have. We gave Gustafsson a hard time, then we get out, you've got to make her put the ball on the floor. Well, she did. And she got blown past, and Malumi gets the 3-point play, so she's going to end up with an opportunity to score 3 anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe Spain could look at the zone. They looked at it in the second quarter.
It wasn't that bad, you know, sort of a matchup zone. After a few passes, they found their players.
Oh, she can't complete it. Rodriguez is checked in. One of the players who's been on this team for a while gets her first time on the floor.
And I said you need to almost match the energy that Japan does and the intensity and speed that they play with. And the only way I think you can do that is going to the bench. As Gustafsson there to clean up the missed shot. I thought maybe Hill thought she was fouled.
Malui, and she's feeling it. Downtown, Malui for 3.
But what do you do? Someone needs to stop her. I mean, she has 18 points already in this game. She hasn't played big minutes. She's at 13 minutes and 18 points.
Gustafsson catches deep off the glass for 2, gets the soft drop, and they've just got to feed her down there and get stops.
But at the same time, you know, she needs to get stops on the defensive end. I think defense is always team defense. But a lot of these possessions right now, Gustafsson, unfortunately, it comes down to one-on-one defense. She needs to do a better job guarding Mawuli.
Condi leads it. Rodriguez gets it back to Condi. Gustafsson is deep. They miss her again. Hazola penetrates. Heel on the 3-point line. Nowhere to go, needs a pass. Rodriguez off the bench for 3 is good. And one of the things that the whole world knows is that she can shoot the basketball. Down the other way. Stephanie Malumi doesn't get the call. Spain going back the other way. Chance to cut this to 10 or even a single digit. Rodriguez for back-to-back threes. It's good. We got a single-digit game, and Spain have momentum right now. They need a stop going into the end of the third.
Gracias, Rodriguez. 6 points in the last 30 seconds for her.
Louis for three.
She says, I could shoot threes as well.
Back to 12. Big possession for Spain. They've got to keep this ticking over to stay in this. Condi. That's super defense. They're going to call it blocking.
Oh, they are going to call it blocking. Oh, I think that's a tough call. I thought she was moving her feet. Conde, good job, you know, drawing the contact and not trying to go away from the contact. And I think that's the reason she was able to get a foul called against Mawuli. That's a tough call. For me, that was one of those where you say both were moving, both drew the contact.
But all the contact's right in the middle of the torso. Yeah. I mean, it's... I love the fact, though, Malui just gets up and I'll play the next play. Let's just go again. Japan will have the last, well, could have the last possession of this third quarter. 23.7 seconds remain. You'd expect them to use every last drop of time. Lead it by 10 with the basketball, trying to run out this third quarter. Miyazaki has it. Just taking some ticks off the clock. Now they're gonna go. Miyazaki gets to the lane, to the glass for two. What a move. Spain don't get the three-quarter court shot. But thanks to Leonardo Rodriguez with the back-to-back three, Spain have hauled themselves back. Trail 10 by 12. 69-57 at the end of three.
Well, it's not over for Spain, Mark. They were down 17. They cut the lead to 9 just before the end of the third quarter, as you see the shooting percentages there. I mean, to be down 17, cut it to 9. Yeah, you gave up that last possession there on the layup. You have to be so fundamental defensively when you're guarding Japan. And, you know, I think Laura Hill, she, to me, is one of the best defenders. But you can't reach. There's no point reaching. Go ahead, shot clock's winding down, have them go to a tough pull-up or a contested shot. Instead, you reach, and they're so good. They know how to get to the basket. But every time you felt like Spain made a big play, a couple possessions in a row, they got scores. When a basket was needed, someone from Japan came up and knocked it down.
Well, as you said, they got it back to 3 at one point, and every single time there's a breakdown, and Japan are still getting the shots they want. And if I was going to summarize how it looks different, Japan are getting shots that Japan want. Spain are having to work hard to get anything.
Yeah, you know, I think they missed some opportunities getting the ball inside, but then they noticed that they missed them on the offensive end. And then they spent too much time focusing on the fact that, oh, well, I missed my post. Let's try and get it into the post now. And then they were forced to take tough shots. You know, Japan are very good at scramble defense. And, you know, probably one of the best in the world. You hold the ball for a little bit too long, you're going to miss an open opportunity if you're Spain. But 10 minutes left, they're trailing by 12. We've seen crazier things happen. To me, Japan, they need to keep on doing, expect a little bit of a run by Spain. One thing we know is Japan, they never freak out.
No. Well, Cazorla gets it in to Condi. Oh, rotation by Yamamoto was just, the communication, the execution defensively by Japan was just, again, out the top drawer. Yamamoto just read the cut, left her player and just shot across the passing lane. Rodriguez will inbound and move it on. Condi. Rodriguez. Little pick and roll action for Heel, inside out. Condi attacks the middle. Off the glass, well, didn't need the glass, just flipped it up for two. Maria Kondi has to become a factor here. He is fouled on the penetration. They're going to wipe it off because it was on the floor.
But again, I don't think you need to reach.
No, I'm with you.
You know, okay, good. It was a good foul because foul is that now going to be called on the floor. But again, just move your feet.
Yes.
Don't, and that's what she did. She reached, and Japan, they're way too smart and they're way too quick. They have good ball handling. You make a mistake, they're going to make you pay.
Miyazaki and Takada. When they need a pass, Takada always recognizes she's going to be on. Miyazaki with a long three, doesn't get it to go. Kondi cleans up the mess and advances it. Rodriguez tries to turn the corner, mishandles, hangs on. Heel looks underneath, deep catch. Little reverse layup, hours and hours of drills on that. And Carrera and the inside still rewards Spain. Miyazaki needs a pass. Takada steps back, puts it on the floor, needs one, finds one. 6 on the possession. Miyazaki. Hashi puts it on inside, floats one for 2, is fouled. And I feel your frustration.
and you know, I mean, great patience. Time is on their side if you're Japan. And they're not a team that's going to shoot a bad shot. They're going to try and get the best shot possible. And that is tiring. If you're Spain, you spend, what, 23 seconds of defense running around, chasing, closing out, getting a hand up, and then you foul at the last second. And you put a very good free throw shooting team to the free throw line.
Yep. Ayashi's having a game. Goes 2 for 2 from the line. And Spain have got to find 8 minutes of pretty much perfect basketball here. There's still there's a way back. They've just got to get stops. Rodriguez again rushed against the pick and roll. They hit the second side, the extra pass. Kondi for 3, just can't get that to go. Ayu boxes out, comes down with a defensive rebound, leads the break. But Laura Hill does a super job slowing it down. Yamamoto moves it on. Miyazaki. 10 on the possession. Miyazaki breaks the defense down. Yamamoto attacks the middle. It's deflected, comes off her knee, goes out of bounds. And basically Spain have to be that good defensively every single time.
And it's tiring to be that good defensively every single time. Spain, historically, they are very, very well coached on the defensive end. 8 minutes left, you got to dig down. You need to put together a few consecutive defensive spots while also scoring, though.
Uvina Rodriguez on the curl, goes strong off the glass, can't get it to drop. Carrera throws herself at the ring and was probably expecting a foul, but they just stayed out of it.
And then this is the problem, though. You give up a 5-on-4, Carrera having to sprint back.
Hey, Yashi, nowhere to go. Miyazaki. Yashi wide open for 3 is good, and how do you rotate away?
How do you rotate on that? Carrera, you mentioned it, you know, I think she thought she was going to draw a foul on the offensive end, and then you have to sprint back, use more energy.
Mazzola finds Heel. Uvina deep on the clock, 5 on the possession. She's got to put this up. Stops, steps through, takes the tough one. Can't get it to go, and Takada comes down with a defensive rebound, and here comes Japan again. Akaho beats everybody down the floor, but Takada trail 3 is good. You cannot execute the break any better.
Every time Spain cuts it into single digits and you think the momentum has turned, Japan come up with big shots as Ovinia able to draw a foul there. I think it was on Miyazaki, as she's gonna check out. And again, look at this. They always substitute 2, 3, 4 players at a time because they're gonna give you 110% effort offensively and defensively. I mean, Japan look a lot more fresh than the Spanish team do with 6.5 minutes remaining in the game.
Carrera goes inside. Uvina tries to manufacture and does. Super finish. Yoshida. Takada, they rotate again. Takada's just made one, doesn't make back-to-back threes. Yoshida thinks about the three, goes deep. Takada, head and shoulder fake, didn't free up Gustafsson. 5, Yoshida, great defense by Uvina. Did Japan just get back? Gustafsson hits the second side, Rodriguez. Carrera lines up the three, knocks it down. Refuses to accept that there's no way back for Spain.
And you know, win or loss, there's still 2 more games to be played in this tournament, but this is called the group of death for a reason, and you don't want to have a loss that has a lot of points to go against you, because I could see at the end of this tournament, Sunday night, us going through points for and against, and maybe
exactly
the 3 that move on to Paris 2024 will be decided with a points count.
Great penetration by Stephanie Mauli. Again, deep in the shot clock, Spain foul because Japan are just relentless with their option selection, with the tempo. Mauli on the free throw line, makes the first. You really have to earn a comeback against this Japanese team. They are not going to make mistakes. You've got to make the play. I think Carrera's going to have, she may have some blood or something. She's had to sub out. He will come back. I'm sure one of those staff on the Spanish bench can help her.
Well, I'm not sure she's someone you want to leave on the bench for too long. She did knock down that 3-point shot. She has 17 points here today for Spain. Not a big 3-point shooter, but she does shoot them.
Yeah. And here comes another rotation off that Japanese bench. As soon as your level drops, you know you're going to come out. You just got to play. Coach will bring you and then puts you back, though. Yoshida gets back defensively. Uvina wants to go. Off that horn set, comes back the other way, needs a pass. Gustafsson deep, uses her spade, creates a great work on the glass. Katsas with 2. Yoshida breaks it down again. Mauli, and the ball moves again. Super penetration and kick. Yoshida wide open for 3, is short. And the offensive rebound in traffic. Mauli moves it on. Yoshida with 5 on the possession, attacks Gustafsson. She traveled.
Well, Spain, they have to defend, and they're having to defend long possessions, which is an advantage for Japan. You know, it needs to be 1 shot and done if you are Spain right now.
That's the 10th turnover for Japan, and when you consider the pace they play at. Uvina. Plenty of time here for Spain. They've just got to keep it ticking. Oh, a heel for 3, doesn't get the drop. Miyazaki in transition. Wants to take some time out of it now.
Why not?
Exactly.
Clock is your friend at the moment if you're Japan.
Mauli moves it on. Miyazaki, as she looks inside, doesn't get it. 4 on the clock. Mauli puts up the 3, is short. And another offensive, just scrambled by Spain. Great effort by Rodriguez, who's been really effective since she's got, let's just say, late time. Gustafsson needs a pass, find one. Rodriguez has to put it on the floor. Has it knocked away.
And you know, it's hard because I understand what the referees are calling, especially on some of these penetration and pass attempts by Spain. But I'm not sure they're fouls. I think they have very, very quick hands, and I think the majority, yes, sometimes they're fouls, absolutely.
Yep.
But we have seen at least a handful of calls go against Japan. They're reaching in, but they're touching the ball, in my opinion.
Yep, definitely on that last one. Gustafsson on the 3-point line, thinks about options, moves it on. Rodriguez, Gustafsson on the short roll. Gets to the far side of the ring for 2.
Tough layup. But again, it took Spain about 24 seconds to get a 2-point bucket. They have cut it in, 9-point lead, 3 possessions.
That's all it is for Japan. And sometimes when teams try to defend what they have, they lose that rhythm. Yamamoto back in the game. Little hesitation, gets inside for 2. Super move.
That was a great job. Nice body control. She knew Casas was there on the defensive end. Shot outside of her shoulder so she wouldn't get blocked.
Rodriguez gets the shoulder square but mishandles. Pulvina. Louis switches. Gustafsson just about recovers it. 5 on the possession. Uvina down the lane with the tough scoop is no good. And Yamamoto says, no, hang on, I've got it. Gets chased, moves it on. Malui gets it back to Yamamoto. And the clock is definitely Spain's enemy right now. Yamamoto with the basketball. 5 on the possession. She's going to put this up. Oh, she goes inside, knocked away by Hill. Casas needs a pass. Hill releases that pressure.
And they don't want to take too much time off the clock. They're down 11, 2 minutes. That's a lot of time left. And see, this is, you have a good defensive possession. You come up with a steal. You got to push the ball. You got to get scores. I mean, it's about winning this game. It's only an 11-point game, over 2 minutes to play.
But every guard on the floor ran away, didn't they?
And is this a sign of maybe a little bit of fatigue as well? I mean, 40 minutes you're going up against Japan. That is not an easy feat.
Not at all. 81-70. Hayashi will inbound. Takada again, because she's guarded by Gustafsson, will always release that pressure. Yamamoto, where they want the ball to be. Backs out, wants a little space, taking time off the clock. Yamamoto, guarded by Carrera, puts it on the floor. Little separation for the 3 is good.
I'm not sure Carrera could have done much more defensively on that possession. She had a great hand up, contested. The tough shot, but Japan, they just know how to score.
Yeah, Uvina moves it on. Carrera outside, Uvina gets it back. Is aggressive on the dribble. Carrera hangs on for 2. Good hands. Timeout. No substitution called by Japan.
Well, again, you know, running out of time for Spain. 12-point game. We've seen crazier things happen, but the biggest thing now, you got to get some stops and you have to get some scores. Even if you lose, you don't. I cannot imagine this group. You don't want to have a loss, a double-digit loss in your group.
Akahu has it now. Akahu moves it on. Miyazaki outside, guarded by Uvina. They're just going to run this right down again. Takada is the screener. Miyazaki looks a little separation, floated to Takada. The pass was there. Takada was waiting for the shot. But don't you love the communication after? Little nod, yeah, great decision. I should have got it. Spain take the timeout. 104 remains. They're down 12 points. And maybe they're managing. One of the things about Spain is their experience of group play. You know, they'll come down, if they get out of here single digit from this position, they'll go, hey, we're okay.
We're okay, yep. You know, you need at least 1 win, obviously, to move on. It's a 4-team tournament. There's 3 teams who will book that ticket to Paris 2024. But I do think this group is so difficult to call. Going into this game, I couldn't tell you who I thought would win. I was really, obviously, we've covered both teams in the last few years, Spain and Japan. Japan, maybe a little bit of a hiccup in 2022. 2021 was an off year for this Spanish team. Both these teams know how to medal at major events. They know how to qualify. They have experience. And win or loss for Spain here today, they're going to bounce back. They know how to bounce back. They know what it takes to, qualify and win.
The only worrying thing, as we've commented about, is how are they deciding to play this game? You know, they've given the 3 up. No, they're not. They're going to make them put it on the floor, but they haven't done either.
Yeah.
Gustafsson has it in the block. Uvina, you'd expect him to go early. Nice Screened, freed up Rodriguez again, and she pays dividends.
Yeah, nice little.
Japan will take the timeout. They're not going to want to get this get messy at all. It's a 9-point game.
How about Rodriguez, though? 9 points in this second half. Did not get any minutes in the first half. And, you know, you saw Japan go to their bench a lot more throughout this game. I mean, if you look at statistics right now, there's some big minutes having been played. Both these teams come back and play tomorrow. Their day off is Saturday. That's not easy when you've played some big minutes. Obviously, they have good training staff. They have physios. They have massage people. So they're going to have that opportunity to recover. They are playing the earlier game today. But Rodriguez, maybe they should have gone to her a little bit earlier. And she's someone who's been around. Everyone knows what.
Yeah. Been around on the national
Rodriguez,
team. Yeah, for a while. She's averaging nearly 8 points a game in the Women's EuroLeague. It's not as if she hasn't played a lot for Valencia, but then again, we don't know. Maybe she's coming with a little injury, maybe. But then, no, obviously not, because she's playing extended second half minutes. It's not like they just... And again, it's the thing that we've talked about a lot. She's given them, even though she might not be the fastest player on that Spanish team, she's given them a little bit of control, and she gives them options that she's managed to get. Well, Spain up the floor, need a stop, and they need stops and scores, and they need them quick. I hope Miyahashi comes back to release the pressure. Izaki gets it off. She gets it off again, and again, the ball movement is just a joy. Miyazaki, guarded by Uvina. Miyazaki needs a pass, turns it over, but Uvina really, almost you'd think should have caught it. But 2.6 seconds.
I'm not going to use a timeout.
No, they have something in the locker here, because they've always got that ability to release the three. Well, Spain did a great job. Miyazaki throws up the prayer, is no good, and that'll be a violation. So Spain will get the ball with 31 seconds remaining and a 9-point margin. They'll take the timeout and advance the basketball. One of those timeouts, Shona, where if you make the three and you're down 6, you will try it. You think you might have an outside shot, you miss the three, the game's done.
Yeah. And you know, I think it's one of those where you look for a quick three. If you don't, you try and attack the basket, maybe draw a foul. But 31 seconds, you're trailing 9. But this is what Spain needed to do. You couldn't go down. In my opinion, you can't get a loss with double digits and feel comfortable. There's always still a chance. There's 2 more games. But that's scary.
Yeah. Well, Carrera has a huge game. Just an amazing performance by her for Spain here with 19 and 7. I mean, if you'd come in and said Gustafsson and Carrera were going to score big, you'd say we have a chance here if you're Spain. You just have to do a good job on the perimeter, but they just haven't been able to live with this perimeter threat and pace offensively of this Japanese team. So Spain will have it on the sideline. 31.7 remains. Condi gets Uvina. They're going to have to go quick here. Uvina, nowhere to go, needs a pass. Condi puts it on the floor, down the lane, is fouled. And
it's a good foul. They used the clock. I mean, they took 10 seconds off the game clock. And ball will go back to Spain, obviously. They're not in the bonus, so.
And you've got to think that timeout is like, well, we're gonna minimize the loss, because they didn't go for the early three.
Yeah, true.
Now they're on the sideline with 22.6 and a 14-second clock. Uvina, that's defense by Yamamoto. That's unbelievable. Oh. Yamamoto putting on a clinic on how to play individual defense. Gets charged
moved her feet. She moved her feet better than anyone I've seen in this game on that possession.
And there were 3 contacts, all pretty much the same. Caught the third one. Here's Uvina. Spain still looking to get a shot. Rodriguez doesn't get the 3 to go. cleared up.
And
Conley's going to foul, but they had a foul to give.
Again, because I think this group is going to be so difficult, Mark, I think it would be important. There's 7.5 seconds. I think it would be important for Japan to try and get a look at the well, there you go. They're calling it timeout because I do really believe that points for and against are going to become very important on Sunday.
Absolutely right, I think. And this gives coach a chance to draw it up. You know he's got enough in the locker in terms of getting shots. So a 3 here would be, they'd be very happy with a 12-point win. Maybe don't want to get it straight out of the out of bounds. Maybe we'll want to get it and run something to make sure it's the last shot of the game. But this has been a performance by Japan that's, well, it's not surprising because, you know, they're the level of team. In the end, they've only shot the ball 38% from 3. They've cooled down a little.
Yeah, but they've shot 40 times, which means if you're Spain, you got to get up and you got to defend that 3-point range. And that's what then also opens up those driving opportunities and easy layups that we've seen Japan get throughout the game as well. 43-point attempts is a lot.
Yeah. So they will advance the basketball. There's not a person on the floor in a red uniform that can't shoot the 3. The Yamamoto is where they'd like it to go. They don't get it there. Malawi comes back and is fouled, and that is not the smartest time to foul. That will send Japan to the free throw line.
I mean, you know, Spain are going to get the ball back, 6.5 seconds. They don't have any timeouts left, so they're going to have to push it or try and draw a foul.
It's one of those moments, though. Malawi caught it. Malawi caught it with a face in the sideline.
Away from the basket, right?
And they'd run three cutters previously, so she wasn't the option that they were trying to get the ball to. Japan don't have fouls to give. They're just going to try and make these 2 and then defend the last 6.5 seconds to just finish off what's been a super performance.
And Japan,
makes the first.
Almost 90% from the free throw line. Typically, good 3-point shooting teams are also good free throw shooting teams.
2 from 2 from the line. Makes it an 11-point margin. Little mishandle. Conde with a 3 to finish the game is no good. Hill can't collect it quick enough. And Japan have kicked off their campaign to make it to Paris with an impressive 86-75 win over Spain. That was a great Japanese performance.
You said it. I think that, you know, that is Japanese basketball, and we've seen it time and time again. And, you know, that silver medal in Tokyo back in 2021 was no fluke. It's how they play. It's how they want to play. They controlled the game, and they played their style of basketball for 40 minutes against a very, very good, experienced Spanish team.
Absolutely right. It's just been a joy. But then Spain will take some real positives out of that because Carrera and Gustafsson on the inside, and with the rotation of Larry Hill, they know that that option works.
Yep.
And they're not going to play a team playing that defense again.
No, I mean, you know, the good thing maybe for Spain as we look at the percentages there, how about that? 73%. We talk about Japan and their 3-point shooting. They put up 40 attempts, so they forced Spain to get up and have to defend them at the 3-point line, which opened up 2-point easy baskets, especially around the rim, and that's why you see 73%, some top scorers. Hayashi, 20 points. Evelyn Mawuli also with 20 points. She was absolutely spectacular, coming up with big basket after big basket. Yamamoto with 15 on the other side. We have Spain. I thought Carrera was great, 19 points. Gustafsson, 15 points. You know, Spain struggled a little bit defensively. To give up 86 points, that's a lot. That's a lot of points. And the good news is you only lost by 11. You were down 17 at one point. There's a reason why this was called the group of death going into this tournament in our group. And Japan just showed and proved it's not easy to play against them, but they're not a team. You're watching and they're not someone I would like to play against. And I love the way that coach goes to his bench. Really, no one from Japan playing huge minutes other than Yamamoto, but they're also used to playing these kind of minutes, and they're scary.
Yeah, they're very scary. They're very scary. But I think the point you raised there that's worth exploring while we see these best plays is Spain giving up 86 points is not what they normally find ways.
Yeah.
And whether it's to slow someone down, whether that is to change things up. And that if the only worry is that they weren't able ever to get a foothold at that defensive end, be it penetration. They didn't make a choice, did they? It's almost like, okay, beat us from the three-point line then, or not. And that's why they got so many opportunities to penetrate, because they read the floor really well, Japan. So if you're Spain, that's the only worry. You know, it's how are you gonna make the decision, unless it's, they've looked at this game and said, look, if we get a win here, great. If not, we know we can go and win the other two games.
I mean, they're turning around and they're playing Canada tomorrow at 3:30 our time. So it's going to be a quick recovery for Spain. But they've been in this situation before. They know how to bounce back. You have to learn from this, but then you got to prepare and you got to get treatment and you got to be ready to play tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what, Spain know really well. Tournament basketball is what they thrive on. And they may only need one win to get through, but as you said, there could be a lot of teams with one win. Every team might have one win in this group at some point. So it's going to be tough here. It's going to be really tough. And one of those games is going to be against the hosts.
Yep.
In a packed gym.
And also a team coming off of a great Eurobasket last summer.
Well, that is game day one, first game down there. Sarah affects the table. Japan with the win, Spain with the loss. We've got Hungary and Canada coming up in a moment. We'll be back for that game. Well, if you thought that one was intense with a packed gym, you're going to enjoy the next one. But for now, from Shona and I, we'll see you shortly back here in Shop Run. But for now, goodbye.